Welcome to Withdraw Consent. I'm Jack. Today I want to talk about, obviously, the title of this episode, which is, can you vote yourself out of your democracy, where you're at in the world? Now, let me tell you where I'm going with that. If you look at, say, what happened in Romania, so if you look at the first reference below, you're going to see this article here. And so what happens in Romania recently was that this guy, his name's Călin Georgescu, was elected in the first round of presidential elections, and then basically what happened is they annulled the election. And the vice president of the United States said that it was based on flimsy Romanian intelligence. The reasons being because he's been giving false information, false statements, fascist, racist, or xenophobic characteristics, as well as forming an anti-Semitic organization. They say that this episode is not really about that article, but they say that he has praised Antonescu, who was the leader during World War II of Romania. And basically, they say that Russia influenced the election by doing a couple TikTok videos, which sounds really silly. But basically, in Romania, what they're saying is they don't have like a full democracy. It's very limited democracy. You can vote for A or B, but not C. You can vote for A, B, C, but not D, wherever they set the line. And so in Romania, you can't vote yourself out of your democracy. But my point here is that in a pure democracy, you should be able to vote yourself out. So, for example, what if you wanted to just 99% of the people voted to install a monarch, just something silly like that? Can you vote to install a monarch? Will they let you? If they won't let you, my position is you should revolt if they won't let you. And if they will let you do the vote, but then they won't honor the will of the people, then you're clearly not in a democracy and you should revolt. That's what the situation with Romania is in. We're going to see on Wednesday to come's video, which is going to be out about whether or not the German AfD party are or are not Nazis. We're going to see a situation where they're a far right party, and we're going to see there's an interview in a reference to that video, which you'll see then. But it's a Green Party MP talking to the camera, and they ask him, should the AfD be banned? And he literally says the AfD should be banned because they're dangerous to the democracy of Germany, right? But what does that mean? Like, would maybe the AfD come to power and then ban parties? Is that what you're scared of? The fascism, right? So you're going to go do that thing. So in essence, they're questioning in Germany whether or not they have the right to vote themselves out of democracy. And if you're not in that position where you can, you're in a poor position. And if you are in that position, you're in a better position. Now, when they do stuff like this in Romania, it's going to cause more far-right activity, not less. If you would have let this guy come to power and then say he got up there and he just said all types of anti-Semitic things or just whatever he's saying, and then you can point to it and be like, you guys shouldn't be that. And then the people would look, in your opinion, because your liberal viewpoints, the people who banned him, and they would say, oh, no, we don't want this. But you ban him, and all of a sudden it's like, in my opinion, that's what you really want now. And there's more stuff in the German stuff. Like they had the AfD conference, and just tens of thousands of Germans, I would say, came and just blocked the streets with their bodies so that the AfD couldn't get to their Democratic conference in order to save democracy, though, So this situation here is akin to the also controversial situation about freedom of speech and flag burning. Okay, so the Supreme Court of the United States has said that you can burn the flag, which represents your freedom of speech. You have so much freedom of speech that you can burn that flag, which is a representation of the thing that it's allowing you to do. So many people, lots of Trumpian people, and people like the several main people on the Daily Wire are against flag burning. And they say you should be in prison for the anti-American views. Now, the problem with that position is that if you give this system the authority to restrict your freedom of speech in regards to flag burning, then maybe you're going down a slippery slope and you're going to get to something much worse. So, for example, let's make a hypothetical situation, right? A Pennsylvania governor, Democratic governor, signs some bombs, and so does a Republican senator signing bombs that the United States is sending to a country to do a genocide. And you want to protest in the United States that genocide. And then the president of the United States, President Trump, says that's un-American to be protesting Israel, obviously, and you should be deported or something. So you're allowing them to go down the slippery slope. Now, in a good system, you would want things prohibited, but if you're in a terrible system, you want them to have as little power as possible, and you want them to prohibit as little as possible. The same thing. Now flip over to the can you vote yourself out of democracy? You want as much leeway to vote for as many things as possible in a terrible system as an avenue to get yourself out of that terrible system. So living in the United States, I'm chiefly concerned with what's going on in the United States, but you could just interpose your country for United States right here. But my question is, I know we're not at the political climate and it's not the right time to do it, but could we do a vote of no confidence in our government? Could we? Now, we don't want to do it now because it would just be a referendum on the Trump election, but let's go back a couple years. What if it was 2 years ago? And what if you were of the mistaken position that I was, where you've got the President Biden lacking cognitive function, you have terrible vice president, and I was of the opinion that they would never let Donald Trump become president again. I didn't think it could be too big to rig. I thought that they would cheat in all the swing states. That's what I thought, and I was wrong. But imagine you were of that mindset and you pushed the idea for a vote of no confidence, because both Democrats, progressives and stuff who are disenchanted with Biden's lackluster performance and diminished cognitive abilities, and Republicans who, like myself, erroneously thought that Trump couldn't be elected again. And well, I'm not really Republican, but you know, I have right-wing values. Could have combined in order to do a vote of no confidence. And if that was a push that went, would they allow that vote to occur? And if that vote did occur, would it matter whether or not it's constitutional or not? Because if the people want to do away with the current government, it doesn't matter whether or not it's constitutional. If the people are demanding it, you know, like if you go back like something silly like the French Revolution, not that was silly, but you know, like a silly parallel, it didn't matter whether what the people were doing was constitutional because the people were just over it. They were done with it. And and I understand we haven't got to that point that we're done with it, and we need to work on changing people's mindset. And then the next question that goes down this line would be, who would you be willing to or not willing to work with to achieve the ends that you desire? Like if that end is a vote of no confidence, who would you be willing to ally with, and who would you not be willing to ally with? And that's going to be about Monday's episode is going to be about that. And that all, including this episode, to lead up to Wednesday's episode next week about the whether or not the AfD are Nazis. I think is a very interesting topic to go down that rabbit hole. Anyways, that's what I got for you. Hope to see you next week, and hope you guys have a great weekend. See you next week.